Okay, in this video I want to talk about the difference between passed by value and passed by reference. So when we're talking about methods, we can pass all primitive data types, integers, doubles, floats, characters, all those can be passed by value, which means when I pass a variable, whatever it's equal to, a copy of that is passed to the method. And why do I say a copy of that? Because in the method you can change that variable any way you want. It will never affect the original. It's like if I had an email that I wrote and I sent it to you. You can change that email any way you want. I have the original. It's not going to affect that. In the same way by passed by value. I'm going to pass you a value. Say, for example, I have something called number. And number is equal to 5 I'm in main, 5. So I pass it to you, your method. You've got it. Oh, it's 5. Well, I'm going to add 2 to it. It's now 7. It didn't affect mine. Mine is still 5. And that's because of scope. We talked about scope at the very beginning of the class. The scope of the variable within my main method where I created the variable, that scope is set for whatever I set it to. When I pass it to you in the method, it has a different storage place, it has a different scope. So again, passed by value is I sent you a copy of that value, the actual value. So a method's parameters, and within the method, in the header, it's called parameters. From the calling, when I say instruction, they're called arguments. And so they're listed in the parentheses. Again, if it has it's changed within the method, it has no value or no effect on the original value. So let's look at passed by value. Here we have main, and I set a number equal to 99. It starts with 99, and it's going to print out number is 99. Then I'm going to call a method called change_me, and here I pass the number. Now down here I call it number, but I can call it something else. I could call it whatever I want. So let's just call it a number. And we'll change this to a number. And we'll change this to a number. This is everywhere I'm using it. Okay. Now what you see here is I'm passing this called number, and I'm passing it here, and I defined it as a number. So 99 is here, this is going to be 99, and it says I'm changing the value. I'm going to change it to 0. Now the value is 0, but when I come back here, it's still going to be 99. So let's run it. Number is 99, I'm changing the value. Now the value is 0, number is 99. And this will work even if this is the same. I want to say the same variable name. Doesn't have to be the same variable name, but I could make it the same variable name. This number up here, its scope is only in main. This number here, which I declared here, so what I'm doing is I'm passing from here 99, boom, it puts it right in this variable named 99. They're in 2 different locations in memory. I'm going to change this one to 0, and we'll run it. Again, number is 99, which is printed out up here. I'm changing the value. Now the value is 0. So it's down here. I'm changing the value. 0. Now the value is 0. And we come back up here. Number is 99. So when I call a method, again, it halts right here, the call. It halts execution through the main here. It jumps down here. It executes all these lines, then jumps right back up to where it was and continues on. That's how a method works. Again, the scope of the variables within main stay within main. The scope of the variables within, like this change_me program, are only for this method down here. So that's passed by value. We also, let's see, again, passed by value. Let's look at passed by reference. Strings are passed by reference. So, and what does that mean to be passed by reference? Basically, what we do is we pass the address of where it's stored. Remember, variables for strings don't contain the string, they contain the address of where the string is stored. So, like here it says show length and it has name. It passes the address, and in this case the string was Warren, to, here's show length, string, it passes the address. So str now contains the same address as name. They're pointing to the same thing. So if by doing that I'm pointing to the same variable reference within it. So right here I say string is str.length, I'll get the number of characters long. But now if I change str to Joe, strings are mutable, which means you can't change them. I cannot change a string. So that's what immutable means. Mutable objects that cannot be changed. So str, when this str equals Joe is executed, it can't change Warren. So what it does is it holds the address of a different string object. Anytime an operator is used to assign a string literal to a string reference variable, a new string object is created in memory. So by doing this, str isn't changed. I just started pointing to a different, like originally it's pointing to Warren. If I do str Joe, it now points to a different address. So the name variable still points to Warren because we're using name up here. And that's the address of where Warren starts. The str variable holds the address of a different string object. It holds the address to Joe. So let's look at using passing strings. So that's right here. And in this one, the string name is going to be set to Shakespeare. In main, the name is, I'm going to print out Shakespeare. Now I'm going to go to change names. I'm going to pass name. So here I call it str. I could call it name. I could call it whatever I want. So what I'm going to do is concatenate. I'm going to put ss at the end. I'm going to replace the a with an o. In change name, the name is now, and I'm going to print out the string. Then I'm going to set str to Dickens. In change name, the name is now, and it's going to say Dickens because I'm pointing to a different place. So when I come back up here, it's still going to say back in main, the name is, and it's going to say Shakespeare. So let's run this. In main, the name is Shakespeare. In change name, the now is, and there it is, my double S, because what this does is concatenate. Remember, strings are objects, so I have a whole bunch of methods I can use with it. And so concatenate says put a double S at the end. So it's going to put a double S at the end of Shakespeare. It's going to replace A with O, so it becomes Shakasporus, I guess. Now I'm going to set str to Dickens and change name. The name is now Dickens, but when I come back up here, the name is Shakespeare. Because these, as soon as I start doing changes, it started pointing to different addresses and storing it in different addresses. So that's passed by reference. By reference, I pass an address. By value, I pass the actual value. Thank you.